10 years ago, Andrew Fastow, former CFO of Enron, was indicted on 78 counts of fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. Liquidation of the company followed very quickly after Enron's Chapter 11 filing in 2001, resulting in the elimination of 4,000 jobs, the loss of nearly $2 billion in employee pension value, and the evaporation of more than $70 billion in shareholder market value. Enron was not the only casualty. One of the oldest and most respected accounting firms in the country, Arthur Andersen, was also destroyed in the process. In addition, Enron's downfall and the other notorious business scandals of the early part of the decade ushered in the Sarbanes-Oxley legislation that imposed additional financial and regulatory requirements on companies large and small. The decade of fraud and conspiracy perpetrated by Enron resulted in huge costs to employees, shareholders, service providers, and to society as a whole. After 10 years, it seems appropriate to ask, what have we gotten in return? What lessons have we learned from this infamous episode in American business history? Has the way business operates changed in response to this experience? How can we avoid such disasters in the future? I'm Dan Sweeney, the director of the Institute for Enterprise Ethics at the Daniels College of Business here on the University of Denver campus. One of the goals of the Institute is to develop and share new knowledge about corporate behavior and business ethics. To this end, we have gathered several experts from the Daniels faculty and the Denver business community to explore what lessons we may have learned from the Enron era. Barbara Kreisman is the Associate Dean of the Daniels College of Business, responsible for executive and professional MBA programs. Dr. Kreisman has an extensive business background in human resources in a variety of companies in the technology industry and earned a PhD in organizational behavior from the University of Texas at Austin. Jim Burton is the managing partner for the Denver office of Grant Thornton, one of the 6 public accounting firms operating on a global basis. Jim has served Grant Thornton in a number of leadership positions and in a number of domestic and international markets over his 23 years with the firm. Cindy Fukami is a professor in the Department of Management at the Daniels College of Business. Professor Fukami researches and teaches in the areas of human resource management, employee commitment, and organizational behavior. Robbie Gilmore is a CPA and former CFO of several companies. Mr. Gilmore now serves as an independent director for 3 public companies, where he serves as chairman of the board or as chairman of the audit committee. Hugh Grove is a professor in the School of Accountancy at the Daniels College of Business. Professor Grove studies and teaches in the areas of accounting, fraud, and corporate governance, and is co-chair of the annual Corporate Governance Workshop at the European Institute for Advanced Studies in Management in Brussels, Belgium. Dave Cox is the Assistant Dean for Full-Time MBA programs and Senior Lecturer in the Ryman School of Finance in the Daniels College of Business. Professor Cox is an expert in corporate finance, corporate governance, and ethics and professionalism in finance. We will ask these experts 4 questions about the legacy of the Enron era scandals. First, what are the principal lessons for the business community, business regulators, and society in general provided by the Enron episode? Second, how have these lessons changed the way business executives, corporations, and their boards operate over the past 10 years? Third, could this episode have been avoided with better governance, oversight, or regulation, or was it simply a function of the culture of business at the time? And finally, what remains to be done to fully exploit the lessons learned from this episode in the history of American business? Here's what our panel had to say.